against Leeds. Which way are you sitting on this?
This is the hardest one to pick for me, so I want to hear you go first. I think.
I've gone for the cowbell army for Caesar's Palace, as Huddersfield will be known for the rest of the season. I think they showed some glimpses this week, and I think Leeds, depending on which kit they wear, will still be all over the place.
Well, they're going to have to wear the white kit again, aren't they? I'm not sure whether that helps.
Well, if they've got it washed in time.
I think you're right. Caesar will lead in this one, just based on recent performances of last weekend. Huddersfield. I'm going to go Huddersfield close, though. One score, 6 points. Also on Sunday, then, we finish the game off with Wakefield versus Catalans. I understand some of the Wakefield fan base are planning to sort of let Catalans what they think about Catalans signing, who doesn't respect inclusivity in hate speech and stuff like that. But they're going to try and do it, I guess, more positively with their support of the LGBTQI plus community. But on the field, where we want to focus our attention, I actually think Catalans are going to win. I have worries about Wakefield. They are a depleted squad. They're going to be without a very key part of that side, and a few question marks in a few positions at this stage. And I think the scoreline would have even been more one-sided had Hull KR not let a really basic try through for Josh Wood. So I'm going to go Catalan by 10. Sorry, Wakefield.
I'm going with what I want to happen rather than what I think will happen to be Wakefield by any score.
Fair enough. Into the Championship, the game of the week is Featherstone versus Halifax. Is this two sides that won last week? I can't remember. I think it is. It is two sides that won last week. So
Halifax by a point and Fev, yeah.
So obviously both going into this one with some confidence. I think Featherstone have the slightly better squad, so I'll go with them.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Halifax on this one. I think just back them again. Kind of what I want to happen. And Challenge Cup starts this week, and the game of the round we've picked is Siddle against West Hull.
Yeah, I mean, the League One sides enter, so we could have picked a tie for those, but this is two of the Premier sides of the community game, who will be a challenge for a League One side if they were drawn against them next time around, even. So I think it's an exciting game to call out, that one. And Tim, although it's been a long show already, I still think it's worth, because me and Alan were scratching around for League One comments last week, and to be honest...
Anyway, just to finish the last one, I think West Hull on that one.
Oh, sorry, I forgot.
Partly because they're sponsored by the University of Hull, so I suppose I should back them.
Right, okay. I think West Hull looked pretty polished as well as a side in the last round when we saw them on whichever one of the coverages we saw them on, so I'd go with them too, but it should be a hotly contested
and
game.
I think they've got a few ex-professionals playing for them as well, so I think they should do quite well.
They've got all the Tyson Wilsons, all the millions of Tyson Wilsons that came through at Hull but didn't quite make it.
Quite a few ex-Oxford players in there.
So we wanted your thoughts on the League One season, because me and Alan didn't feel like we could do it proper justice last week. So I suppose we want your sort of key themes of what you expect to see in this League One season, and a bit of insight as well as what you expect from the non-Heartlands teams, and can any of them this year make a step up, or do you think it's too much to ask this year?
I think it'll be interesting to see overall what happens, what the effect of having the reserve competition is in terms of player availability. I think that's going to be quite a key one, because we've seen the last 5 years dominated by having some form of dual reg players available and then skewing certain games, certain teams. So I think that's going to change things quite significantly. I also think that Newcastle, they're looking pretty hot from what I've seen of them, and if you look at their squad, it's they've got some big names in there, and then they're going to have had a full pre-season under Simon Finnegan, So I think they should do very well. I think Barrow have got quite a bit of residual quality coming down on the Championship. They managed to retain and keep some decent players in there. Doncaster, I don't think you can do too much wrong with, and I'm saying they'll do quite well. In terms of the non-Hatline sides, I don't see anything in there that would suggest they're going to break in this year. If you look at the squads, they're fairly settled in terms of London scholars. They've got the same sort of mix of a few more experienced players, some random Australians who fancy a trip to London, and some of the same players they've had for quite a few years. I think Workington, could do well, just zipping back up. But I can't see anyone breaking in. I think Coventry, it's quite a big transition year because of the new coaching setup.
Yeah, so do you want to tell
and how that beds in?
The new coaching setup, because obviously Tom Sang, who has been there since the start, really, he's moved on to coach the reserves for the London Broncos this year, and everyone wishes him well. But what do you? We talked about that, didn't we? The back end of the season when that was announced. But what do you think of the new coaching setup, and explain that to people? How it's going to work?
Yeah, so Alan Robinson, who was CEO and club founder and every job going, he has moved back downstairs a bit in terms of director of rugby. So he'll be leading the coaching setup. Rich Squires, who has coached me a bit in the university game and in the community game, he was with us last year as a coach in the first team. He's stepped up as first team coach, alongside Ben Wincup, who has been at the University of Gloucestershire and Swindon St George. So he'll be assistant coach as well. So the coaching setup has all moved on. And that's going to be quite different. With lots of changes, very different feel off the field, and I've got a small role in that side of things as well. And on the field, the playing squad's very different. A few retained names, but quite a lot moving on. I think Kadeem Williams is probably going to be the key player that we're going to look to. Chris Cullimore, though, the more experienced signing at hooker. So, someone who's been around that league is coming in. So that'll be quite interesting. And, a few exciting players. Darius Hamilton is one to watch. He's in the Army, and he's prop forward, and he looks pretty good, looks pretty handy, and he's even been used in some of the Army's recruitment campaigns.
Well, if he makes the explosion of the on the field, that Army transitioner Ratu Nilongo's done in Super League, then that'll be a good one to watch. Yeah,
and the one thing I've got to call out as well, absolute disaster of the year already, Keithley's kit. It looks horrible. It's trying to be like a fake Iron Man type thing. But
I'm going to have to look at this now.
If you open the League Express, they've got a nice picture of all the kits this year. But that Keithley one looks particularly horrible.
Oh. Yeah, that is a weird crest situation going on there, isn't it? Okay. Right. So who are your tips then? Doncaster, you were saying, Newcastle, you were saying, Workington.
Doncaster, Newcastle, Workington. I think it's between those three as the top for the top two spots. And I think everybody else is pretty much in the sort of clumps you'd expect.
Yep.
Kind of Barrow, Hunslet, Keighley, and possibly Rochdale, though they could be at the lower end. Then,
well, Rochdale's a curious one, isn't it? Because I sort of think they have started to round out a squad that I think can be more competitive. It's just they're so used to losing so big that's a big turnaround to start to make.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of turnover there, although they have got a lot of that sort of Rochdale Mayfield side that are brought them together under Matt Callan. But you don't know what they're going to be like, but I shall see in 2 weeks' time.
Fair enough. Excellent. We'll start to talk about League One games of the week in future weeks coming up, but it's 2 weeks, isn't it? So soon. Yeah. Excellent stuff. All right. Okay. That is predictions done. Whilst we were talking about this, I remembered something from the weekend's games that I meant to say, and I can't believe the amount of times I talked about Hakeem Maloudi and I didn't talk about it. What on earth was he doing celebrating? Like celebrating his try with a cartwheel. He nearly hurt himself. Oh, that would have been embarrassing if he'd have hurt himself. They were like, 28-6 down at the time. Come on, Hakeem. Have a think, lad. Right, that is everything covered in the world of Rugby League. We're now just going to do a few little bits of quiz and other business. So, Tim, the SLP quiz this week is going to be based around the big news story of the day, which is obviously Shaun Wane being named as England Rugby League's head coach. I've got 3 questions for you. I'm going to start with what I think is an easy one. So since we moved to England being the primary international side rather than Great Britain after 2007, can you name all of the England head coaches?
Tony Smith.
Yep.
Steve McBanana.
Yep.
Wayne Bennett.
Yep. 3 from 3. There you go. List those 3 coaches from worst to first in match winning percentage. So which coach won the least percent of his matches through to which one won the most in their times in charge of the England national side?
Weirdly, it'll probably be McBanana with at the top. No. Smith Bennett. No,
Smith is in the middle, but McNamara is the bottom with 56.7%. Smith had 58.3%. Wayne Bennett actually topped the lot with 63.6%. Obviously, playing a few understrength Kiwi sides helped him in that regard. Final question then. What was Shaun Wane's win percentage in 238 games as Wigan's head coach? And I'm going to allow you a 3% margin either way to sort of give you a chance here of getting the points.
56%.
Let's go 5% margin. 5% margin.
56%.
No, it was 68%.
There you go.
Winning more than 2/3 of his games in charge. Okay, that's the quiz. Quick, swift one this week. Any other business? Good. What sort of recommendations have you got? And kind of generally, what have you been up to since we last heard from you, Tim?
So, quite a few different things here and there. So, I've joined, because Brent, the borough in which I live, is the Borough of Culture for London for 2020. So, similar to the City of Culture, there's lots of things going on, loads of events, different things going on. I've joined the collective there as a volunteer. So we had our first opening event, which was called Rise, which was a big performance down Wembley Way. Shut down Wembley Way, had 300 dancers on a massive stage. Finished it off with General Levy coming out and doing incredible. He's the guy who did the Ali G song, which most people will know, that does Booyaka Shah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's that song. So that was what closed it. Absolutely, good fun. And also, I've joined an amateur dramatics group.
No.
Around the corner. Yeah, we both have. That's our New Year's resolution. And do you know what's even weird? There is a Rugby League connection to this amateur dramatics group. But a former member of this very same group is one Mr. Ian Ramsdale.
Oh, okay. Who used to do the Rugby League Down South podcast all those years ago when we first started out. That I used to chip in with the community reports for. Yeah. No way.
Years ago. So, yeah, that was very weird.
I think I have the first issue of the Rugby League Down South fanzine somewhere on my shelf.
Funnily enough, I got it out of it's in my portfolio the other day, somewhere. So, of all my random writing stuff. Yes, we've joined that and we've got a performance on the 22nd of February. It's a review show of lots of different sketches and I'm in a couple of them. So if you are in the North London area and you fancy a laugh, then please do come down to St Erkenwald's Church Hall.
Will it be a laugh at your expense?
There is at least one laugh at my expense.
I think that will help sell it, Tim.
So there we go. Saturday the 22nd of February. Please do come down. And in terms of other recommendations of other things, one thing we've really got into, I don't know if you've got into it,